Welcome, ACLC community. My name is Roger Brady. I'm president of the Creative Community Education Foundation, CCEF. That's where everybody sends their money to support the school. And I'd like to introduce Paul Bentz, who's the CEO of ACLC and the development director, and he needs no further introduction. Paul?
Okay. Hey, that's very nice. Thank you, Roger, and thank you to all the parents that came out tonight, and thank you for the parents who are watching this on the internet who, for whatever reason, couldn't make it here tonight. I'm here to give you a little community update about what's going on at ACLC and what's going on in the state of California. So if we could go to the next slide, please. First of all, let's celebrate. The Alameda Community Learning Center in the last year was awarded the California Distinguished School Award and became the first charter school in Alameda County to receive that award. We also have received recognition as one of the best high schools in the United States, in the nation, by U.S. News and World Report. Gave us a Bronze Award. And then something that didn't make it up here that just happened in the last 24 hours that I found out about is that 8 of our learners this year in our graduating class of 30, I want to say, are going to receive the California Golden State Merit Diploma. And this is the actually the highest number of learners in any that we've ever had in the 12-year or 10-year history of having graduates. I know that usually we have 3, maybe sometimes 4, and last year we only had 1. But this year, our outstanding senior class actually has 8 people who will receive this award. So they'll now we're not going to tell you who they are tonight, because we save that for graduation as a little surprise. Also, it's early in the college acceptance season, but these are some of the colleges and universities that our learners are getting into this year. And we're very proud of all of them. I'm not going to read the list here, but you can see that. And this is not before a lot of the private colleges back east have even said who they're going to accept. The real question is about the future of the ACLC, and the question is, how can we maintain our high-quality program? How can we increase our offerings to provide even more innovative programs for our kids to have access to? We always have the challenge of how can we keep our community small and keep the small school feel? And then the other question we have to answer as a school is how can we also extend this great educational experience to more Alamedans? As the person who does admissions for our school, I'm always very happy this time of year when I can mail out the acceptances to the 41 kids who get to come to the program. But I'm also saddened by the 140 letters I have to send to those people who would like to send their kids here but can't get in. And so they're all waitlisted, and we hope that they can get in the future. Anybody reads the newspaper or watches the news, you know that the state is in has a lot of financial challenges. That the governor has proposed suspending Proposition 98, which is the guaranteed funding for K-12 public schools. And the governor's proposal, if it is enacted, will cut $4 billion out of public education in California. And that was based on when he did this, of there being a projected $14.5 billion deficit, and a month after he did that, the legislative analyst or somebody said that that was wrong. It was actually a $16 billion deficit. So we're hoping in May 15th, when the governor's revise comes out, that hopefully that they're not going to cut public education as much as they say they are, but we're also even hoping that it's not worse than he actually stated a long time ago. So the question is, what does that mean for Alameda? The Alameda Unified School District is looking, if you read the newspaper, is looking at cutting $4 million out of their programs in the next 2 years. And ACLC is looking at an $81,000 budget gap in its own budget about how it currently runs its program versus what it will have if it ran exactly the same program next year. We'd be $81,000 short. That's based on having our small school of 228 kids. So to understand this number, you got to sort of understand where our funding comes from. Most of our funding comes from the state because you send your kids here, they actually show up, and it's called average daily attendance. And if you look at these numbers here, you're going to see that basically the proposal is to give us $150 less per learner than they gave us this year. There's a second way we get funding. It's called categorical funding. And again, the news is the same, that they're proposing next year to give us $32 less per learner than they give us this year. If you add those two numbers up, the state is proposing $41,000 less to the Alameda Community Learning Center to support our educational program. It's actually 2.7% less than we're getting, but it's 5.5 less than we thought we would get, because every year schools usually get a little bit of more money for cost of living. On top of that reduction that's coming from the state, we have increased operating expenses next year, most of which we have no control over. This is all negotiated through the Alameda Unified School District. There's a salary increase that's already been negotiated for next year that will raise our expenses. The governor is planning on giving less money to special education, but they expect you to do the same thing. So we're expecting our costs for that to go up. We're expecting the cost of us buying a classroom experience in French or JROTC at Encino High School to increase. So that comes up with another $40,000 of increased, what we think will be increased expenses. So if you add that up, that's how we come up with that $81,000 number. If we just operate exactly the same way we run this year, we have an $81,000 gap. We were planning and still hope to do some kind of program improvements next year. Things we want to add in middle school Spanish, but it's going to be difficult. There will be a cost in doing that. We have a Futures Leaders Institute that I personally think is very successful, but the grant money is now expired. And so if we want to continue that program, we need to find another $6,700 to do that. There's a series of professional development opportunities that we'd like to have for all our staff related to the California Charter School Association. And there's other community outreach activities of Encino High School sports or Encino High School band or drama and those kind of things that we'd like to do. So there's increases in other kinds of spending we'd like to do. Our governing board is looking at how can we eliminate the deficit. We are studying the possibility of reducing staff next year by attrition. We actually have two facilitators who have announced that they're going to be leaving next year, and one of the ideas is that we only hire one new staff member. There are some things the school has been providing: subsidies for the yearbook, the Freedom from Chemical Dependency program, a school-wide field trip, extra college counseling. Those are things we're all doing this year that we may not be able to afford to do next year. In the issue of the staff reduction, if we actually do that, we would probably have to eliminate the Learning to Learn class and in grades 6 and 7 and incorporate that into the regular humanities program. To teach humanities here with a more limited staff, we would do, we're thinking about doing a regrouping of how it's done. So it would be humanities 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. We're thinking that we can't necessarily subsidize this sort of free access to Rosetta Stone that we have. It may mean having our algebra classes meet 4 days a week instead of 5 days a week. We're thinking of a plan where we would continue to add Spanish too, and we would also increase the PE for younger learners, because that's something we can do without a credentialed English teacher.